Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maid, mother, and crone, where we look at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hi, welcome back. This is Cindy Murray. I'm your host, and I'm here with Kristen Hessler and Amber Garvin. And I got your names right this time.
Hey.
Maiden name and married name. Wow. And we are here today talking about Clutterbugs. And if you don't know what a Clutterbug is, it's based off of a website. It's clutterbug.me, like me. And it's all about what is your organizational style or lack thereof. And I took this test because somebody was talking about it in one of our crafting Zooms a while back. And I found out that I am a bee. And bees are a type that love visual abundance and organizational abundance. And we prefer to see our everyday used items out instead of hiding them away. But we're also a bit of a perfectionist, and we like to pile things up until we can put them away in the right place. This is totally me. I have piles everywhere of things that need to be filed. And anyway, this website, it kind of breaks people up into different kinds of bugs. There's the butterfly, the bee, that's me. And then there's also a ladybug and a cricket. And they're all based on what kind of organizational style fits you. And so I took this, and like I said, I learned that I am a bee. And some of the bee traits is a visual person who often has a project out and ready to go, or is in progress. And bees tend to be very organized, but they also prefer to see. They're important and frequently used items. So like I keep my pens, all the ones I use most frequently, right there on my desk so I can just grab whichever ones I need. And my scissors are in some of my more often used crafting supplies are in a little turntable thing that spins around so I can just grab everything I need right there. And my desk is almost like this little U-shaped pit of stuff that I use. So everything is like within hand's reach or in drawers under the desk, because I like to have everything there, the things that I use the most. Because if I have to keep them in containers or whatever, I'll never get them out. So there's all kinds of things like that. But also if I pull out papers or whatever, I'll keep a stack of things that I haven't filed. And I will just go through all at once and file them. So Amber took the test, and you said you were a butterfly. What kinds of stuff do you are traits of the butterfly? What kind of things do you do?
Butterfly traits, you like to keep everything visible but in containers. So
okay.
I like, and that's exactly how I have my desk area and my classroom organized. I have everything in labeled containers, so I know that everything is in its proper place. And then I have in my kitchen everything in the proper drawer and the proper everything. So I don't have my kitchen labeled. I'm not that OCD. And my books, I have my books by genre on the bookshelf. I have a drawer for my socks. I have one type of socks on one side of the drawer. And then
so there are some similarities with the bee, because I do the same thing. My socks are in a drawer, and like my fuzzy warm socks are on one side, and my little ankle socks are on the other side. And,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
My books are sorted by actually I have like library style order. So all the sci-fi's together, all the regular fiction is together, sorted by author. And then all the nonfiction is sorted in a pseudo Dewey Decimal System. But what I find is that when I read books or I pull books out, I don't always go straight back to the bookcase with them. they'll just kind of stack up in the right section.
Yeah,
and
until
then
you're ready to catalog.
Yeah, and then I'll go back through and
That's
and put them
interesting.
away.
So I took this test when I was living in a really tiny apartment. It was Travis, Raina, and I living in a 700 square foot apartment, and I was a butterfly. Everything was neat and organized and put away, but easily
out of
to
necessity.
see.
Yeah.
Yes, and now that we live in a bigger house, I just took the quiz again, just to see if I was still a butterfly, and I'm actually a bee. Because now I do have more space. You were talking about like making piles and stuff on here on her website. She says some suggestions for a busy bee: learn to let go of perfection. It's better to start with a good enough organization system instead of piling. And it immediately made me think of the biggest problem area that I have in my life is the floor by the garage. We use our garage for storage because we have a lot of stuff, and a lot of my scrapbook things that I'm not working on right now, like bigger projects or seasonal stuff, all that stuff goes out to the garage, even like the Christmas decorations, right? So when we took down all the Christmas decorations, put them in their boxes, like their tubs and stuff, and instead of going and putting things back exactly in the garage where they were supposed to go, because we kind of had to make room for them again, we piled them up by the door because for me, I wasn't ready to perfectly put it away, so I just stack things by the garage door, and there becomes like this, we have kind of like an open concept living, dining room, kitchen area, so it's all kind of one space, and it all piles up by the door, and I reading that made me think, I just need to get it out to the garage. I can leave it out in the garage and then perfect where it goes later. And that'll keep my house from looking so cluttery, because all it takes is for 2 bags or 2 things to pile up in that spot. And then suddenly all 3 of those areas, the living room, the kitchen, and the dining room, look cluttered and messy. And as soon as I clean that stuff up, it's like, wow, it's so clean in here.
You notice you're talking about piling things on the floor, and there was something I read, and I wish I could remember where it was, maybe Better Homes and Gardens. This has been a long, long while back, but they were talking about the characteristics of people who have clean homes. And one of the characteristics that almost all people who have a really ultra clean home have in common is that they don't store things on the floor.
The floor is not storage.
It's not storage.
The floor is lava, not storage.
Yes.
So you don't have stacks of things on the floor or under the desk or whatever. And that is one of the biggest contributors to clutter that I've ever found.
Putting stuff under the bed, putting stuff under the coffee table.
Well, it's okay to have it under the bed. I think if you have organizers under the bed, like I store my sweaters
not just
in
like
a
putting
storage
like
container.
a pile of magazines under the bed.
Yeah,
or
that
like
is not.
something
Yeah, exactly.
Or your dirty socks to get them out of the way.
Right. And another thing that people talk about is the handle it once principle. That's another one that kind of goes with that, with those clutter things, the piles. You don't pick it up and handle it and then put it in a pile. You handle it once. You take it, like when you bring the mail in, you don't make piles out of the mail. You deal with it right there. If it's a bill, you put it in your bill folder.
Well, have you heard of the 1 minute rule? If something takes less than 1 minute to put away, you do it right then. Yeah. It's kind of that same idea.
That's a really good principle.
It is. That's what I try
Totally
to do.
Tiffany is that's she. I can't remember the rest of her name, but she made the scrap rack. And she does all kinds of organizational things for scrapbookers. And I'm totally a fan of her storage system. But one of her organizational tips that she does is that when you think about it, when you come in the house with your groceries, what's the first thing you put away?
The cold stuff.
Right. You don't set the ice cream on the counter and then go deal with the mail
towels.
or take the dog on a walk or whatever. You put the ice cream in the freezer immediately. And so that's one of her things. When you handle it right then and deal with it right then. And that helps you avoid those piles. And this is one of the characteristics for the bees is she says instead of piling things up, find a system that works for now, that's good enough. Stick it in the freezer, even if it's on the wrong shelf. Just get it in there so that it's kind of put away. And, then at least your ice cream's not going to thaw out. And she also talks about not having more than 3 projects on the go at once. I am terrible about starting projects and having 3 different projects going on at the same time, so that I can work on this one, and when I get stumped with it, I set it aside and I pull out another one and work on it for a while.
I'm one of those people that has to completely finish a project before I can start another one. Or
I know a lot of people that do that.
TV
I wish I could.
series, I have to completely binge watch one TV series.
I wish I could finish projects like I finished Netflix TV series. My life would be so much better. I can go through a Netflix TV series and I only watch one thing. Now, books, I can read 10 books at one time, and I don't know why I do that to myself.
Before I can start another one.
I don't know what it is. Like, I have 10 books going on at one time, and that's just on my Kindle, and then I have like 5 on my stand, and I just pick one up, and I can't read one book at a time.
I have a 2-read stand and a 2-read queue on my Kindle, but I still have to just do.
I will put one book. If I need to start another book, I will put the other book aside.
Yeah.
And read the new book and then go back to the first book. And same thing with like the Netflix or whatever. I only watch one show at a time. But for some reason, when I'm working on scrapbooking projects or whatever,
juggle and go back and forth.
And I do that with my house cleaning and all that. I always have all these things going on at the same time.
I have to start in the kitchen. That's where I always start. Once the kitchen's completely clean, then I move to the living room, and then I always I always do the bathroom last because
I'm all over the house.
Oh my God. I used to have, and we may talk about this some more because we do have a house cleaning episode coming up.
Next.
But I don't. I used to always start with the bathrooms, and I have 2 bathrooms, so I would do both bathrooms. So I'd do the toilets in both bathrooms, and then I'd do the shower in both bathrooms or whatever, and I just moved methodically through each bathroom till they were both done. And then I'd start at the far end of the house and work my way around and end up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But I don't even do that anymore. I am just like so all over the place. And maybe that's why I'm not very productive anymore, because I'm just a busy bee. I flit from one little flower to the next. And when I get bored of working with that one, I'll put the stuff in the toilet and walk away. And 3 hours later, I will come back and finish.
I was thinking about projects, and then you're like, I should put it in the toilet.
Well, I mean, household projects, or whatever, cleaning.
I'm done with this knitting. Flush it down.
No. So, but I really do. I get bored with things really easily, and so I'm just like, okay, I'm done with this. I want to go do something else for a minute. So, yeah. But this little website is really cool because she has a lot of really cool ideas about how to organize that works really best for your personality type and the things that you like. And so she's talking about, like, for the bee, clear bins and baskets and jars, because then you can see what's in it, but it's still contained really well. And I actually do some of these things. So I have a lot of different kinds of pens. I just love pens and pencils, whatever. And I have one of those little Raskog rolly carts, from IKEA. And I have these little, they're like DVD cases, but they're clear, so you can see through them. And I have all my different pens, all the different kinds of pens sorted into those. But I can see at a glance what kind of pen is in each box, so I can just grab it and go with it. And that works really well. And I like shelves. I have open shelves. I actually have like IKEA cabinets in my studio, and they don't have any doors or anything like that on them. They're just open, and I have everything in little bins, and I like that because I can see what's in everything, and it's all just right there, easy to grab, and I love that. I'm trying to think, and she also talks about learning to let go, and that is one of my hard things because bees hold on to everything, and I do just in case. I might need this someday. So I have a drawer that has like pieces of cork and old bottle caps and pieces of foam and things like that I just keep. I might need it for a craft someday. And I will say that my husband used to come in when he was a scout leader. He'd come in and go, I need something to do, blah, blah. I've got just the thing. Look right here.
I was literally looking at a half-used bag of popsicle sticks. I don't even know where they came from. Probably from Cub Scouts or something.
Oh, yeah, probably.
And I was holding them, judging whether or not I think the bag of popsicle sticks. I
legitimately need those for my classroom.
I will give them to you because I didn't want to throw them away.
If you don't want to throw them away, I will legitimately use those for my classroom.
I really do hate throwing craft supplies in the garbage because...
Could I write something cool
don't
on
throw
each
it
one
away.
And make a
Ask me
thing
first.
Yeah.
Don't throw it away. Ask me first.
Yeah.
I'll use it for my classroom.
For me, it's throwing that stuff in the garden. It goes to the dump, and our landfills are getting so full. I just cannot throw that stuff away. So I like to find a place, if I'm not going to keep it, to donate it.
Yeah, we usually donate our stuff.
There used to be
whatever.
a great place in Denton called Scrap Denton, and it was a resale store for craft and art supplies.
They just opened another one not too long ago in Denton. It's called Thistle Creative Reuse.
Oh, I may have to go back and go check that out because I used to donate stuff. One of my little fundraiser things and stuff that we used to do with Crafty Neighbor over the last few years, before COVID, obviously, was we would have a scrapbooking garage sale, and people loved to come get rid of their stuff there. And then people loved to come shop our used craft supplies. And I always wind up with a whole bunch of stuff left over.
Just people donate. They're
People
like,
just
here,
donate it.
I'm
Here,
done.
yeah.
Find something to do with it.
And if we don't have whatever, after it's been around for a while and we've obviously not sold it for our charitable things, I have to get rid of it because I can't continue to store this stuff forever. So we would take it to Scrap Denton, and in the hopes that somebody would go in there and find it useful. And I'll be honest, I shopped in there a lot of times for little trinkets or whatever because there was all kinds of stuff, and it was a very popular store. There's 2 universities there in Denton, the University of North Texas and Texas Women, but the University of North Texas has a very extensive art department, and the art students loved going there to buy supplies for their art. And I was so sad to see that store go away in large part because of COVID, I believe, because they had to shut their doors.
They shut their doors not long after.
Right. Well,
COVID
they were closed when
yeah.
COVID started and we had the lockdown here in Texas and everything was closed. They shut their doors and then they just never reopened. So I was really sad about that, but but it really, it's hard for me to let go of things. So I have to, if I'm going to let go of things, I have to know that it's going to a good place.
The problem is not just like getting rid of things, but I think I hang on to things and I feel like it needs a purpose in its life, I guess.
Right.
I give things a life. And I feel like, that tree was chopped down and turned into popsicle sticks. I don't want to throw those popsicle sticks in the trash. So I feel like I put this burden on myself to turn them into something useful.
Right.
Is that not just like crazy? But that weighs a lot on me.
Well, but that popsicle stick is not recyclable,
right?
And
that's what I'm saying. Is I put this challenge on myself to make it into something useful or beautiful, and then I feel burdened by all this junk in my house or in my craft room. Like my room is full of stuff like that. I'm like, you bought that, you need to make something out of it. And like I feel like my life would be a lot lighter if I didn't force myself to like have this expectation of using this thing and making it into something. So Amber, you will be receiving a large box of fun foam and
I probably got lots of stuff for you soon.
Really, because I work at an arts school and they will, if it's not my classroom,
I'm sure
I forget about that. We used to take things to the like we have a Scottish Rite hospital here in Dallas, and their what is it, Child Life Center there that provides
arts and crafts,
and entertainment for the children in the hospital. That used to be a great place to donate stuff, but after a while they just get so much stuff, and I don't have kids in school anymore. You know, when I had kids in elementary school or junior high or whatever, I could donate items to the school teachers, but you know, there comes a point where, you know, what do you do with 40 balls of yarn that somebody left you and you know you're not going to crochet it? There are places to donate it, but, you know, if I had to go find the individual organization for each kind of craft supply that I have,
or other junk,
that would take more time than I have, you know, so I just rather give it to one place.
Here's one thing, like we were talking about craft supplies, but everybody has like something in their life that they can't get rid of or is cluttering them. My husband has probably $10,000 worth of CDs. We literally have like 10 tubs, and these are not just small tubs. I mean, these are like 100-pound tubs of CDs. He was in one of those like 10 CDs a month club.
Oh, Columbia House.
Oh my
Yay.
gosh. He has so many CDs, and I keep bragging on him like, you know, you have Apple Music. You can get any of those, almost any of those CDs you can get on Apple Music.
Does he
my husband has talked
CDs?
about
sometimes, but I mean, some cars don't even come with CD players anymore.
Right, yeah.
And you know, to me, like, I don't even think all computers have CD players.
Mine
I know
doesn't.
my little Windows and Raina's laptop, they don't have CD players in them. So at some point, they're going to be obsolete. And I keep telling him, you know, you could condense those down into something else.
Like what I did with my DVDs, get a bunch of those big cases off Amazon.
That's one of the things we're going to be doing this year.
And I recycled all of the DVD cases. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I condensed, because I had about 8 boxes, 8 of those tubs of DVDs, not just mine, but my parents, ex-husbands, whatever. And I condensed them down into like those 400.
Yeah, you kind of have to when you live in a smaller home.
Yeah,
and his CDs were in storage.
Lived in a 700 square foot house before my new one that I moved into. But even my new one that I moved into, I wouldn't have had room for all of those shelves of DVDs.
Right.
So I even had to get rid of boxes and boxes of books.
Now, I was going to say books is my next thing that I was going to mention, because like you, I hoard books. I read a book and I don't get rid of it. I keep it.
I had to look at every single one of my books the last time I moved, because I was tired of moving 30, 40 boxes of books. And I finally had to look at every single one of my books and ask myself, am I really going to reread this?
Yeah.
And so if I said no to any one of those books, I'm not going to reread it. I resold it to Half Price Books. I donated it. I donated a lot to Kristen's Clutter.
Well, and that's the problem. You know, that's part of the problem too, like getting rid of the craft supplies, getting rid of the DVDs. What do you do with all those books? Because people, I mean, I don't want to say people don't buy
in my
books.
Classroom,
right. But people don't, a lot of people don't buy books anymore. They read on their Kindle, or they read on their computer, or they read on their phone.
It's more convenient to do that now, which is sad.
And so you have these books, and so we've cut down all these trees to make these books. I don't want to just throw this book in the landfill and let it just rot into nothing, which takes,
to schools, donate to Goodwill, donate to, I don't donate to the CCA, donate to hospitals.
Yeah. So like I say, I need to do the reason I was thinking the books was because we just did this remodeling project.
Now you need to go through all your books.
I need to go through the books before, because I had to take them all off the shelf so they could paint the walls and paint the shelves.
Now you had to put them
and
back.
I was looking at all those books just thinking, I don't want to put those all back up there. So I really do. I want to go through with intention. That word comes up so often. And just really keep the books that I love Because
you're definitely going to read again.
There are books that I will read again because I have read them over and over and over again.
So my books at home, I have probably about 4 boxes of books that Amber has given me, tubs or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I have probably about 4 or 5 that I haven't unpacked since we moved. They're mostly paperbacks. I have my trophy shelf, my trophy case. That is my bookshelf of my ultimate favorite books. They're like my trophy. I consider my trophies like these are the books that I read that are my favorite. You're never going to
get rid of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that
so
special
I
bookcase
picked through those and I said, whatever fits on this, that's my trophy book or whatever, my keepsake books. And then I have a smaller section of ones that I want to read soon. And then I keep acquiring books. So I keep stuffing more on there. But
yeah, I have about 3 boxes of like the little paperback books that I want to read. It's just that I don't have room on my bookshelves.
Right.
And my immediate that I want to read, I have 2 bookshelves for those immediate that I want to read.
Right. See, I'm collecting the V.C. Andrews and the Anne Rice books, and I'm just a few short of the full collections.
And you want to read the whole series
all together.
Once. Yeah.
I want to binge them. So but I don't have them on the shelf. I have those out in the box in the garage because obviously, I don't need to put them on display. But I will probably keep those because they're pretty valuable, in my opinion. As a set, having them all together, someone might find that of value.
Well, it's like I have as a child, I read the Little House on the Prairie books.
It's kind of like a game for me to collect them all too. But yeah, having all your Little House on the Prairie books is kind of special.
I had all them because I read them as a child, and I read them to the kids.
Complete Sweet Valley High.
You mean I have those now? Or no?
No, I gave you the
you gave me the Babysitter's Club.
Babysitter.
Yeah.
For Raina. But I have
you're still reading those, Kristen?
No. No, I have the complete Sweet Valley High ones, and one of these days I'm going to put them on eBay because there are a lot of people selling them on eBay. I don't think I have all the Sweet Valley High, but I do have all of the Sweet Valley University ones. And those are actually worth some kind of money on eBay. So.
I don't think any of my books are worth any kind of... Well, I don't know. I have a couple of older editions of... James Clavell was one of my favorite authors. And all of his Shogun, Gaijin, Taipan, all of those, that series. I think I have all of those. And some of them are... And they're all in hardback. So... but some of them are older editions, so they're worth a little more money. But they're not worth, they're not worth selling worth a lot of money. So, but a lot of my books are paperback because I read a lot of sci-fi. So those sci-fi books are a lot of times just come out only in paperback, and paperbacks aren't worth anything. But they are series that sometimes I go back and reread the books again. I don't reread a lot of books, but there are a few where that are particularly ones in series or ones that I like Larry Niven's Known Universe, and so a lot of times they'll refer to an older book or a theme from one book in another book, and so then that makes me want to go back and read the older book or whatever,
or
and
have access to it,
or just have it so I can flip through the book and remember. Oh yeah, that was the character that did blah 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 blah.
Right. That's what makes it hard with Kindle Unlimited. I know we kind of got sidetracked because we're nerding out on books here, but it's what we do.
We are nerds.
But so with my Kindle Unlimited, you can check out 10 books at a time, and I'm reading this book series, and I'm 45 books in or whatever, and at the end of each book, she has kind of like Game of Thrones. There's the houses or the clans or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, who was that guy related to again? And I wanted to go back to one of the earlier books because I felt like it might have changed. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought his sibling was so-and-so. And I had to go release one of the books I was currently reading, because I keep 10 books at a time that I'm reading. I had to let go of one of them so I could go check out one of the ones I'd already read and returned. so I could skim through it. And then I was like,
You were like,
what was that book I had that I returned? I couldn't remember. And then I was like, oh my God, I guess I'm not going to be reading that book anytime soon because I can't remember what I just let go.
Well, that's pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
You know,
yeah.
Maybe you needed to let it go if you didn't remember what it was.
You know.
Yeah, maybe you didn't need to read it.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the clutter buggy thing, because, you know, it is about clutter. I know another thing that I have a hard time letting go of is clothes. And I am so bad about holding on to clothes. Don't ask me why, because I have a closet full of clothes, and I do wear those clothes. It's really full of clothes. And I put things in an order, and I wear them in the order that they are so that I cycle through all the clothes after, you know, over time. So it's not really those that are the problem. The ones that I hoard are the ones that were the old sizes that I don't wear anymore, and I put them aside in
you're
a
going to go back
box.
to
Yes,
that
and I
size.
have clothes that are so old, and I'm like, but I loved that dress.
See, I don't
can't
feel like
let
that's
go.
clutter though because it's put away. My problem with the clutter
After
is
20
that
years,
I
it's
fold,
clutter.
Well, true. I fold the laundry. You know, I may like make the bed and then use the bed as my large folding table, and then somehow I'm so tired that I want to go to bed, and no one's clothes get put away. So Raina's clothes end up on my dresser because she's already asleep, and then only some of the clothes get put away, and now all of a sudden there's this one thing in my room that's her clothes that has been sitting there like for weeks. I'm like, can you
Right.
just come get your socks please and put them away?
Oh, well, and that's one of the things. I sit in the living room and watch TV, Netflix, while I fold laundry, and so it's all scattered out on the couch. And rather than leave those things out on the couch, which I used to do, when my mother was living with us, she would get up early in the morning and get up and watch TV. And I didn't want to leave my laundry sitting there because then she would
That was her spot. It messed
that was
up
her
her
spot.
day.
It messes up her space. And she would move things around and willy-nilly and whatever. So I got into the habit of folding it and then stacking it back in the laundry basket.
Yes.
But it's stacked up in the laundry basket at least. And then I can hand the laundry basket off to my husband. Here's your laundry.
I have a basket in front
No, I
of my
do have
closet
that,
in my
yes.
bedroom that has clothes that I folded in it from before Christmas.
And that's
still
back
there.
to the bee thing, because the bee makes piles rather than
And it would literally take me
to
like
put it away
2
later.
minutes to put those clothes
I know.
away. I don't even know what they are. I just know they're folded and they're
See,
safe.
I keep mine in the dryer until I'm ready to fold them, and then I get them out of the way and I put them back where they're supposed to go. But out of sight, out of mind, which is a butterfly trait.
Yeah.
So I keep them in the dryer, out of my sight, and I put like the dirty clothes that I'm going to wash in the washer out of my sight.
Oh.
And then like when I'm ready to fold them, I'll take them out of the dryer and I'll wash the other ones, and those go back into the dryer, and then I'll put them away. But
It's nice
it can't
when
be
you
in
live
my
by
sight.
yourself. You can just take your clothes off in front of the washing machine and wash 3 days worth of clothes,
Yeah.
and then just turn it on. You can't really do that whenever you have
No.
a bunch of people in the house.
Well, I mean, I have a clothes basket
Yeah.
that I use, and then once it's full, I transfer it to the washer. I have done it before. I can't say that I've never done it, but
I have too many people in my house to
Right.
get naked in front of the washer.
Like I said,
Oh,
it's nice
man,
when you
you
live by
know.
yourself. You can just get undressed in front of the washer and
Well,
get dressed in front
I
of the
actually
dryer.
couldn't. I don't think I could do that even if there wasn't anybody in my house, because I have so many windows that are not covered.
See, I don't have hardly any windows in that area of
Yeah.
my house. So, like, most of my windows, for some reason, are in the bedroom. So it's just like, it's easier to change clothes in the living room because there's so many windows in the bedroom.
That's funny. Like the opposite of what most normal people do.
Yeah, and and plus, like, my cats like to lay, because I've got like a big sliding glass window in my bedroom, and the cats like to lay, and it's like a gap in it, so it's like I have to run through the bedroom in the morning and grab my stuff or chase the cats out of the bedroom so nobody will see me through the sliding window. Yeah.
Oh, the problems of being a clutterbug.
Right.
Where else do you have clutter? I have like a space on the end of my kitchen cabinet. It's kind of like a little bar, and it's like it is a catch-all for everything. And I actually have a bar
Catch-all table. Yeah.
Yeah. I have multiple ones in my house, and they catch everything. And in fact, my kitchen has one on each end of the kitchen. So I have a galley kitchen, and on one end that's where all the mail comes and the flyers for the grocery and the menus for carry out and the pharmacy items that come in. And
whenever you open a package that came in the mail, everyone seems to want to open it right there.
It's like right there on that counter. And then the other end of the counter is like all the food that people pull out to snack on and don't
never
put away
back in the pantry.
And I'm like, what the heck? Why are these crackers sitting here for 2 weeks and nobody can put this box of crackers away? And I just get to the point where I'm like, it's a very passive aggressive thing. If you're not going to put it away, I'm not going to put it away. I didn't get it out.
Oh, so I guess the crackers now live on the countertop.
Now the crackers live on the countertop. So yeah, that's everything's that way. The bread lives there now. The crackers, the chips.
So we had a big open square kitchen. Well, it's kind of L-shaped, and then there's just this big empty part of the kitchen. So we decided to get this cool like island thing from IKEA to put in the center of our kitchen. And we were like, man, this is going to be nice. It's going to be like this big empty wooden block looking structure. And it has like a shelf up top for pans. It's really neat looking. It has shelves down below. It's really given us a lot more space in the kitchen. Kitchen that already had a lot of space. It just makes it more functional now. And that has become the biggest junk spot in the world. There's so much stuff on it that there's only about a laptop's worth of space.
Yeah.
For a cutting board. That's really what there is. There's just room for a cutting board on there. And it's like I can't seem to get the stuff off because every time I take the stuff off of it and put it somewhere else, other things migrate to that spot. So that's been a challenge. Like every time I look at the kitchen, I feel like it's messy and dirty because there's too much stuff. And that's where I struggle in the kitchen because as a bee, I like having things usable and visible and quick to grab. In the kitchen, that's nice to have, right? Especially, with my experience working in a restaurant, when you're in food service, everything's like right there. You can make 5 different meal items without even turning around. It's all right in front of you. And so I like that in a kitchen. But at the same time, like when there's all these snack things everywhere and utensils and items that don't get put back in the cabinets, and like we still have a box on the floor in our kitchen, tucked up against the wall of things we haven't unpacked. And I'm like, that is the only box in our house that hasn't been unpacked. Obviously we don't care about the things in the box, and I could probably just take the box and donate it. But I'm like, my quesadilla maker's in there. So I don't want to get rid of that. I know. And I just I keep asking Travis, why haven't we,
I got rid of mine when I moved.
Why
I'm having a brainstorm over here.
I was thinking the same thing. We should have a quesadilla party. But why haven't we just put that thing away? It would take like 2 minutes to unpack that box. It's not even a big box. It's just stuff. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, I think that's going to be one of my spring cleaning must-dos, because we've been living in this house for almost a year now. To me, that seems ridiculous. Why is it that it's almost, our lease is almost up and I'm almost unpacked? Like, does anybody else, is anyone else like that? Or
no,
is that just
I have to live in a place like 2 years. The first year I unpack. So then the second year I can have my stuff, and then it's time to move again.
Well, I've lived in my house since 2004. And when we had to start shuffling things because my mom moved in and then my mom moved out, and our friend moved in, our friend who has cancer that we've been taking care of. and I had to clean out one of the bedrooms so that he could fit his things in there, and hospital beds and things like that. And so I had to find a place to store everything that was in my guest bedroom. And so that meant I had to clean out all of my other storage to find places to put things. So I had a coat closet right by the front door that I had stored some living room knick-knack kind of things and pictures and stuff like that. When we first moved in, our intention was to pull up the carpet and paint the walls and put in new carpet. And the previous owners smoked, and so there was smoke stain. The carpet was very smoke stained, even after we shampooed it many times, and sometimes you could still smell the smoke and everything. And they had repainted, but it was just plain white walls, and I wanted color. So this is in 2004, mind you. And it was one of those projects we never got around to. So I never unpacked these boxes because I wanted to wait until after we did all this, and then I would unpack them. And so here it is, 2022 now. And we recently finally ripped up that carpet and went for hardwood floors instead of the carpet and painted. But in the process, we were, cleaning out the closets and moving things. And I had to get rid of a lot of stuff and move things out and clean out my living room and get, clean off the bookshelves, the stuff that was on it. And I started opening these boxes and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I even owned that. I obviously didn't need it. It's been sitting there since 2004. That's almost 20 years. It's been there 18 years that we've lived in this house, and I have never once opened that box. It was still sealed with the tape from when we moved.
Yeah.
And
you didn't even know what was in it. You just knew it was knickknacks.
And it was kind of fun. I opened it.
Thing with the potpourri in it.
What?
Was that glass thing you gave me with the potpourri?
Yes, that was one of the things in there. Dead potpourri. It's been in there 20 years, right? And, and I opened up all this stuff and I'm like, what the heck? I could have gotten rid of this a long time ago, but it was just clutter. It was there, out of sight, out of mind. And like now, none of that stuff is in that closet now. I got rid of almost everything that was in there. There was a few little knickknacks that I kept, but it was this whole shelf of the closet, and none of it is in that closet now. So, I just clutter everywhere. I hold on to things, and it's like, why did I keep that? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well, obviously, your intention was to decorate the
bookshelves
with that, and over time, you just collected new knickknacks.
I collected new things, and some of the things that I had in there, I kind of have a little bit of a world travel Asian and African theme in there, because I am a travel agent, or was a travel agent, kind of still am, but so I like things that remind me of travel, and things that I've collected in my travels, and things that my friends and my clients have brought me from when they've traveled. And so, I did want to keep some of those things because they're beautiful artifacts or whatever, but, and I did keep a lot of those, but, they're on display now. They're not in those boxes, but it was just kind of like, wow, that's been sitting there for 20 years. So yeah.
Funny thing. I, was looking for something in the garage last night, and, I came across the box that you gave me with like my plaque.
Oh yeah, see, that was one of the things I found in there. And I was
looking in that box, and I was like, "Well, what all's in here?" Because she had shipped me off with a box a while back.
Yeah, there was a whole box of
and it was in my car for a
things.
long time. It was in my trunk. See, this is the clutter. It's the pile. It's a temporary lodging place for junk, right? So then it wound up on a shelf in the garage, and I was just digging around looking for something in the garage last night, and I stumbled across that little potpourri thing, and I was like, "Wow, this looks familiar." I remember it, but I don't remember ever where you had it in the house. And I opened it and I was like, what? And I threw that potpourri out last night. I just dumped it out.
Oh, God. Did it stink?
It was like baby powdery smelling.
Oh.
Yeah. I just thought that was really funny.
I remember. I think that was a gift or something.
It took that long for that little pot to find a new home. I just put it on my windowsill.
It was a really
room
cute little potpourri
yesterday.
jar, but yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny.
I don't know how long that potpourri was there. It was probably 5 or 10 years old before I packed it up. Mm-hmm. So,
I don't really have anything to add to this because I recently moved and
you purged,
and
hard.
I purged like carloads and carloads and carloads to Goodwill, trash, giveaways. Stuff like that. So,
well, does anything Clutterbug in your classroom? Do you ever have that problem in the classroom?
I want to say that like my desk is kind of the catch-all whenever I bring stuff in and put things down. Mm-hmm. Everything ends up on my desk, and that's probably the most Clutterbug.
You know what? When I worked in the office, I made a strict effort every day to clear my desk off of any projects, file things away so that my desk was completely clear.
I had to do that when I worked.
All the pens went back in the cup because I just felt like
my boss required it.
Yeah, I didn't want someone to come by and be like, "Wow, your desk is messy." Because I had a lot of knickknacks and stuff on my desk.
Yeah,
I mean, when you've worked somewhere for so long and you've gotten all these like little trophies and awards and
well, we had to
tchotchkes, yeah, because one of my coworkers every year would go to Acapulco and she would bring back a tchotchke, and I collect those. I still have them. I brought them home and I have them on my desk at home, and so I liked keeping them on my desk. It was nice. I don't want to get rid of them, and so it just gives that visual appeal that there's a lot of stuff there. So every night I would put my things away so that when I came back to work the next day, my desk was nice and clean.
Yeah, I actually had a boss that he would write you up if you left even one file folder out on the desk. Nothing was supposed to be out on your desk. Not a pen, nothing. It was supposed to be completely clean slate.
Teachers,
he would be horrified.
Black holes of crazy.
My desk is horrible. It's so bad I can't even work on it. I have to work on my craft table because my desk is so piled up with stuff.
She's got piles and piles.
I have piles on top of the piles.
You literally do have like a beehive. Your room is like a beehive. It is
horrible. And I keep trying to get to it, but the desk is always the last thing to go because it's the bastion of piles, It's just
you want to organize all that
stuff. It is. It's stuff that needs to be organized. And a lot of times it's travel brochures or marketing strategies or whatever, and I don't want to let go of those because I want to. That's the theory. In theory, I'm going to go through and do those things, but they just pile up, and I never get around to working on them because there's so many other things going on all the time.
Well, I want to say that before I moved and purged a lot of my stuff, that I was a bee also, where I would pile things where I want to organize them, and I would get to the point sometimes when I needed to clean something off that I would just put it all in a box and stick the box away to organize for later. And I kind of, when I moved and got rid of a bunch of stuff, I kind of got out of that habit because at my old place I had a mold problem. I had to get rid of a lot of my clothes. I had to get rid of a lot of my shoes. I had to get rid of a lot of my books. So a lot of my decluttering in 2021 was kind of out of like a have to from like black mold. And then the other part was like that I was essentially, other than like the movers that helped me, I was essentially moving all of the small boxes and stuff by myself. And I got to a point where I didn't want to move boxes anymore, so I just started purging the boxes.
I literally have a folder on my computer that says "need to sort."
I do too. I have one on one of my computers that is sort and move to the other computer. Yeah, it's terrible. And it's
We
when
don't
I
talk
cleaned
about my flash drive.
we did a we did a lot of purging, not just in we did a lot of purging when my dad got sick, because we went to my mom and dad's house and saw the result of hoarding too much stuff, and it was like that made us want to come home and purge, and we purged a lot. We keep purging, but we for everything we throw out, we bring 2 more in. And then when I moved my mother out, when we sold her house, it got to that point too, where it was like, I just can't even look at this stuff anymore. It's just, we just called a junk removal company and said, I will pay you just to remove everything, because, we went through it and pulled out everything of value, everything of sentimental value, and then just the rest of it. It was just like, I can't move another stick of furniture, another tchotchke, another book, another whatever, it back into my house. I just don't have the room for it. And she was not even I don't know what the different clutter bugs are, but she wasn't even a bee. It was just flat out hoarding of stuff. And
there's this pile that's beyond
Well,
Clutterbug. That's like
I think that
there are
idea
different
of
types
those hoarding.
hoarders.
yeah.
Well, and I think for them though, it's hoarding and organizing are two different things.
Yeah.
You can't mix those two things,
No.
because
Yeah.
hoarders are constantly trying to organize. They just don't have the space, and
they won't let go of anything.
right, and that's where I think a lot of hoarders might be bees, because there's always a purpose for all of those things, and
Right.
they're
Even
constantly
trash
going
hoarders,
from
in their mind,
Yeah.
there is a purpose
Right.
for, I'm keeping this can because I'm going to recycle it, or I'm going
yeah,
to
exactly.
make
They're going to do something with
Yeah,
it. It is a
yeah.
project. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah, my
never comes to
dad's
completion.
garage, there was like this box full of probably 20 or 30 used fluorescent bulbs. I'm not talking about the little compact fluorescents that we use in our lamps.
like the tube light.
I'm talking about the long, 8-foot long tube lights that go in the big ceiling things that he had pulled out of old fixtures. They were dead, but he didn't want to put them in the burn pit because they live out in the country and they burn. He didn't want to put them in the trash can because that stuff is not supposed to go to the landfill. So he was going to recycle it, and there it sat for how many years because he never got rid of it. And, just all kinds of things like that, old metal. He had piles and piles and piles of metal that needed to be hauled off to be recycled and things like that. And it was, yeah, I think you're right. I think they're technically bees, but it's just so out of control. The hoarding is so out of control.
The interesting thing about a bee is that one bee does not run an entire hive.
Well, that is true.
By themselves. So, like butterflies, they can fly around and they just get pollen from flowers. Bees are like trying to do something, like always trying to stay busy. And I think a lot of times you can't do everything by yourself. And if you're a bee person, you might have to get someone else to help you get organized. If you're completely disorganized and you're trying to tackle it and you're not like used to doing something like that, or it's going to be your first time doing that project, you need to get someone else to help you, so that you can get the project to completion. Because I think a lot of people get overwhelmed when they start to work a project and then they don't finish it. That's where I think some people might go, I'm going to organize my closet, and then they take everything out of the closet and dump it on the bed, and then you're sitting there sorting through your clothes for hours and hours, and then it's like, wow, it's 2:00 in the morning, I'm tired, and then I guess I have to sleep on the couch now because the bed is full. And then that's what happens with hoarders. Then at some point they can't see their bed anymore because the project never gets finished. Life happens.
Mm-hmm. That was my bedroom when I was like in middle school and high school. I'd pick up everything off of the floor
and put it on the bed with good intentions of putting it away.
Yeah, of putting it away, and I would end up sleeping on the couch for months.
Oh,
because I never got around to it.
Yeah.
And my mom would just laugh at me because she'd walk in to the living room and I'd be sleeping on the couch and she'd be like, you haven't cleaned off your bed yet? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, the floor looks nice in my bedroom. And she just shook her head and she'd walk back out of the living room and I'd just go back to sleep on the couch.
So I looked at the website again, and so again I'm going to repeat the different categories. The bee and the butterfly, those are both like visual organization. They want to see their stuff, usually, and then
function and beauty. I bet
function and beauty, yeah. And then there's the ladybug and the cricket, and they both like everything out of sight. Beauty
and out of sight
and
function out of sight.
And function out of sight. And so that's the way those work. And so yeah, the messy people, that's just its own category.
Yeah, the hoarders don't even get a category. That's a different level of clutterbug.
That is actually technically a mental illness.
And
again, hoarding and organizing are two different things.
Yes.
Because you can have lots of things and it's the act of organizing them.
Right.
Yeah.
The act of organizing is where the clutter bug idea concept comes in.
Yeah, hoarders really don't.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
They just collect and keep and collect.
Well, and that's why I'm saying I think a lot of people who are hoarders are constantly organizing their things.
Maybe.
I mean, have you?
It depends.
It depends.
I see a lot of them.
They're
They're
about the
they're
people that
moving
have the
things
dead
from,
cat underneath the.
Yeah,
pile
those
of,
people don't necessarily,
but
a lot of them are shuffling things from one place to the other, just trying to get a little bit of control.
Right.
And it just gets to the point where it's so overwhelming, and
there's
even with the bees and the butterflies and the ladybugs and the crickets, sometimes a little help in that organizing is a good thing. And I've found myself in that situation myself, especially after clearing out a whole bedroom or whatever. It's like, I don't know where to put this stuff. I need somebody to help me figure out what to do with all of this.
Just a voice of reason, or just someone to keep coaching you along. Okay, let's go on to the next box.
Right. Well, the Marie Kondo thing or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just nice having your friend come over and sit
go, do you really need that?
Or just sit and talk with you while you're doing it so that you don't.
Well, and I found that, we do our little Zoom craft meetings, and sometimes there's one of our friends who gets on a little bit late after she gets off work, and maybe if she's listening, maybe she knows who she is, but we'll just sit and chat, and while she's crafting, I'm cleaning. and that's kind of fun too, because talking to her on the Zoom while I'm cleaning kind of helps me
feel like it's less of a chore.
It's less of a chore. I'm just enjoying it, and I'm just sorting things out while I talk. And it doesn't, if I try to watch a movie or something like that, I will stop sorting or whatever and to keep my eyes on the TV and see what's going on. So having that Zoom conversation going on while I'm organizing is nice, because I don't have to look at anything while I'm doing it, unless she's trying to show me her crafts or whatever. But that's very, short time there. We can just sit and talk, and I can kind of pay attention to what I'm sorting and not have to look up at her to talk.
Yeah. But it's not like a phone conversation either, where you're actively talking. Right.
Well, we do actively talk, but it is a little bit different. And so I do like doing that, and that is it's like having that friend there helping me, and then I can laugh about things I found or whatever, too. That's kind of funny. But so anyway, that's I'd like to hear what you think you are if you've taken the quiz. Share with us what kind of clutterbug you are, and what kinds of answers
you found to that. I want to know more about the ladybug and the grasshopper.
No, I do know a couple of people. A cricket. Yeah, I do know a couple of people who are ladybugs, and I would like to see pictures of their craft rooms, or their pictures of their working spaces, or their whatever they've organized using those principles, because I think that would be a really fun comparison with us over on the Facebook chat group, MMC chat.
Share your pictures.
Yeah, just go over there and share your pictures with us. We'd love to see what you've done that applies to those different principles, because maybe somebody needs to see your ideas to help them organize their ideas. And you can access that right from our Facebook chat, right from our Facebook page, Modern Musings MMC. That's our Facebook page. And you can actually link to that right off of our website over at modernmusings.net. So you can access all of our social media and other accounts directly from our website. You can also leave comments on our blogs there, and I may share some more things with my organization, because I've really been organizing, and I've shared a little bit with some of that, but I may go ahead and share some more as well, because I think that's helpful to other people. I know it helps me when I can see how other people have organized. So
that definitely helps me also.
Oh yeah, because I get lots of ideas, and I want to share that with others so they can have those ideas. So share yours with us. We'd like to see it. And I want to give a shout out to Red Door Studios and Creative Audio Tech for our equipment and our music. Creative Audio Tech wrote all of our theme music, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Every time it plays, I get so excited listening to it. I can't believe we have such great music, and he did a great job for us. But I also want to thank our listeners. You guys are awesome for sticking around and coming back week after week. If you like us, go give us some love. Give us some likes, give us some ratings, and share us with your friends. We want to build this conversation. The more people that are in the conversation, the more we have to learn from each other. And I think that's an important part of Modern Musings, is that we're all sharing in this conversation together. So that's it for this week. What is our topic next week?
Cleaning.
Yes. Yeah, it's cleaning.
Cleaning,
cleaning checklist.
Yeah.
And also, National Poetry Month is next month, so we're going to be talking about some poetry in a couple of weeks. But next week, cleaning checklist, and poetry,
day planners.
And,
we got some Star Wars.
Yeah, for May the 4th,
Star Wars
versus
Star
Trek coming up.
Wars versus Star Trek.
And we got lots of stuff coming up. So y'all keep listening, and we'll keep chatting, and hopefully you can chat with us too. So y'all have a good week, and we'll be back next week.
Check you later.
Bye.